positive case identified at National Command Center. Prime Minister AND Pangu support candidate. And Cricket PNG wins ICCC award.
This is National MTV News with Helen Seah.
Hello and thanks for joining us for Thursday's news. The National Command Center has been breached a second time with a staff member testing positive for COVID-19. While the National Command Center is yet to release an official statement announcing the new positive case, the individual is currently isolated at the Rita Flynn Court. Meanwhile, it is understood the positive case is an officer in close contact with the Health Minister, the Prime Minister and his staff.
The operations of the National Command Center is in question again after an officer tested positive for COVID-19 on Tuesday. It is understood the Command Center has been fumigated and staff told to be tested if they feel unwell. Recent media conferences were moved outside due to the previous breach and also allowed maximum social distancing. It is also understood that the Health Minister has gone into quarantine as the positive case had been in close contact. The positive case had also come into close contact with Prime Minister James Marape and his officers. The Prime Minister later travelled to Goroka for a political rally to support Pangu candidate Ai Tambua. The Prime Minister then continued on to Lae for the Nadsab Airport groundbreaking ceremony. MTV posed a question to the Prime Minister.
I've always had my regular tests and I will go back for this in as far as this latest bout of increase are concerned. But I've conducted myself above in as far as me personally is concerned. One guy that is purportedly, he works in and out of the Murata house, has not been in the floor that I've gone in and where my office is located. It's basically operated from the 4th floor. He's been quarantined now, he's been isolated now. But for precaution, we're running tests on Health Minister, we're running tests on every one of us. But in as far as I am concerned, I'm pretty sure my moving in and out and the conduct that I've held myself, I'm possibly not COVID infected, but never know. I'm going into a test tomorrow to see my status.
But what is most concerning is that two frontline journalists who have been at the forefront of scrutinizing NOC's COVID-19 operations and who have been following safety protocols have been singled out to self-quarantine, while NOC and other government officials are still going about their regular routine. We have reached out for comments regarding this from the National Command Center and are still awaiting a response. Jeremy Moggy, National TV News.
In the meantime, the general population in the nation's capital is slowly observing new measures put forward by the controller after a spike in positive cases. MTV News was out again this morning checking the markets and public areas of the city to see if the COVID-19 measures were observed to prevent the spread of the virus.
The controller reinforced another stern warning to strictly observe the COVID-19 control measures, especially in Port Moresby. While it is important that all residents assist by adhering and contributing where they can to curb the spread, observations in Day 2 has seen a general compliance to the lockdown-imposed measures. PMV is ceasing operations completely, social distancing practices, as well as directions for masking and quarantine and isolation protocols. While it is also equally understood that accessing masks by the general population in the city is a challenge, the National Command Center is working with partners and SMEs to make sure masks are available at a minimum cost to the public. The controller stating it is an investment in the public's survival and must not be compromised. Additionally, investigative health teams cannot put a finger on the hotspot areas, therefore the public is to remain vigilant to protect themselves against the virus. Anet Kora, National MTV News.
People's National Congress Party leader Peter O'Neill has called on the nation to support all health workers throughout the country. This comes as the coronavirus health crisis deepens and cases increase. Mr. O'Neill asked citizens to recognize the efforts of health workers and to be patient because they're under enormous pressure. He says there is no excuse for any member of the public to lose their tempers with health workers who are doing their best in our communities. He also stated that all members of Parliament are aware of the shortages of resources and funding that is causing problems, and they will take these issues direct to the government to make them lift their game and do better. He further thanked the business and international communities who have come forward with donations of health equipment to Port Moresby General Hospital and other health facilities around the country. Meanwhile, opposition leader Belden Nama is against international help to fight the global pandemic. He says the PNG government should equip local doctors with resources and not bring in Australian consultations. The opposition leader was referring to the announcement that a team of medical officers from Australia will be sent to assist local doctors.
The Australian government has supported the PNG government in the fight against COVID-19 through the supply of PPEs and the engagement of Australian Army and police personnel at the National Command Centre. This will be the first time medical consultants from Australia will fly into PNG to assist health workers on the front line. While this is seen as additional manpower support, the opposition has a different view.
Why bring in Australian consultants? I hold an opposite view. I believe in our national doctors, and I want news to report this, that I as a person, Belden Nama as a person, as member of Animal Green, and leader of the opposition, believe in our national doctors. I believe they can do a better job.
Last week, there was chaos at the Port Moresby General Hospital following the announcement of 5 lab specialists testing positive for COVID-19. This led to the partial closure of POMGEN's emergency ward, with nurses and doctors raising concerns on being short-staffed. There were reports of patients being turned away simply because there were no nurses or doctors available to treat emergency cases, something the opposition leader says should have been planned by the major hospital's management team.
Our problem is that the Prime Minister and his team is only selecting a select few to work with them. And we have physicians, qualified, highly qualified Papua New Guinean physicians who are out there. Why not engage the PNG Medical Association of Doctors? Why don't the government come up with a strategy where it is time for us to start to collect to do the antibody test throughout the country to see if our people have coronavirus antibodies.
Meanwhile, a statement from the Australian government explains that the medical assessment team is expected to provide immediate ground assessment to improve laboratory strengthening, case management, and infection control. The arrival of the Australian specialists in PNG is a response to a request by the PNG government made in conjunction with the World Health Organization in call for international assistance. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The East New Britain Provincial Health Authority has boosted COVID-19 surveillance in all its entry points in the province following the recent surge in Port Moresby. Provincial SOE Controller Wilson Matava issued a list of measures that include monitoring flights and incoming passengers to Tokua. They are required to produce medical certificates obtained from a health facility confirming their status. Anyone with COVID-19 related symptoms will be isolated for 14 days. Other measures include minimizing public gatherings for sport and church activities, while PMVs and taxis are tasked to carry mask-wearing passengers only. Some of these measures were implemented in March during their 21-day provincial lockdown. He says police will be monitoring public movement and those failing to comply will be penalized under the National Pandemic Act. National EMTV News continues with other major headlines around the country, including the Goroka by-election. Stay with us for details after the break. Welcome back. Prime Minister James Marape led a team of Pangu leaders to Goroka yesterday to back their candidate Aye Tambua for the Goroka by-election. The leader of Pangu party touched down in Goroka, backed by government ministers and party executives. PM Marape embraced the Pangu candidate Aye Tambua, stating little can be done to address some issues in the Goroka electorate. He also urged voters to be wise to complete this by-election process.
Of you, Papua New Guinea, you're still in house lands. All triple Mary candidate and build him the next generation of leaders who will put your interests at heart. And today, Mila, commit to you. If in the next 2 years you give me Aya, now Aya, we want them Aya, make him walk like Goroka good. People not make him work or something, but maybe the water supply issue in Goroka. Or maybe the University of Goroka water issues. Or maybe the outstanding land issues in Goroka.
Police recruitment in Hela will soon commence following the approval of a new payroll structure by the Department of Personnel Management. Hela Governor Philip Undialu says this will stop the practice of paying about 3 million kina every year spent for importing police and PNG Defence Force into the province for security operations. Over 500 positions will be advertised for police placement in Hela.
After almost 8 years of becoming a province, Hela will now have its first police structure. Governor Philip Undialu says law and order has been an ongoing issue and crippling government services. He says the new police payroll structure will cut the unnecessary spending on deployment of security forces into the province.
We got road sealing coming up, airports upgraded, and these initiatives will be a waste if we don't strengthen the capacity of police. Security operation is a very costly exercise in Hela and other parts of the country. In Hela, we spend between 1 to 1 million, 500,000 to 1 million to engage outside security forces every month.
DPM has approved the payroll structure for about 500 policemen to be stationed in the province to serve. Formal process will commence, then positions will be advertised.
Our payroll people will load the approval of the structure onto the payroll system, and then the formalities of engaging these policemen and women will take place as soon as possible. So advertisements will go out. We'll do advertisements both internally and externally.
Hela has countless law and order issues, election violence, payback killings among others, which had called for more security forces being deployed for operations. This has been a burden to the provincial government in the past 10 years because the province has less than about 50 regular police serving.
1.2, 1.3 million kina a month on cost of allowance for security engagements, accommodation, allowances, and this approval is very, very timely, and I want to thank all the officers from DPM that have assisted our PPC.
According to Governor Undialu, there are plans to start building a number of police barracks and a PNG Defence Force engineering battalion in the province.
And start building capacity on the ground. I want to see start with at least a 20-man house in Como, 20-man house or 20 police houses in Makarima,
Koroba Kobiago and Atari.
Jagla Power Junior National EMTV News.
Police operations in Madang have improved drastically as a result of police working with communities. Assistant Commissioner for the Northern Command, Peter Guinness, says the partnership resulted in 10 suspects now in custody. They surrendered to police through their community leaders.
Assistant Commissioner of Police for Northern Command Peter Guinness commended his men for improving in their policing duties. He said Madang police have improved, unlike in the past where too many complaints were registered due to lack of leadership.
Police alone cannot be able to fix all the problems. We need community support, and what the community has done so far, I'm very, very grateful to see that, suspects from previous cases like robberies and rapes, murder suspects have voluntarily surrendered to the police through the community leaders, and it's very encouraging for me to see that.
Despite their good work, police are working with old vehicles to carry out their jobs. For now, the men in blue are using whatever resources they have to perform their duties.
They are doing whatever they can do with the little that they have. But it got all talk long. They will be refitted with new vehicles, and we're just waiting and hoping that what they said will come into fruition.
A number of officers are renting accommodation outside of the police barracks that is posing a risk to them and their family members.
Hopefully, by me addressing the issue belong accommodation belong police Madang. Yes, this is a big challenge for the organization, and I do understand, and we're seeing things. It's happening. All policemen Silver side, they've been attacked, and we have already experienced a couple of cases already. Lodisilaka and Pasini come up, and as much as possible, what them Halivim belong good Minister belong Mipla, I think they've already worked on something to address this issue.
Mathalubi's National EMTV News, Madang.
Meanwhile, 9 police officers in Madang have been arrested and charged for various offences involving police brutality. The Northern Command boss says the constabulary cannot deny cases of police brutality and that the Internal Investigation Unit is examining cases brought before the division.
ACP Peter Guinness says despite all the good work police are doing, there are still instances of police brutality. RPNGC is not neglecting nor oversighting those cases. They have been investigated.
And in the Northern Command, if there is an issue with against police officers, allegation of police brutality, they can have it reported to the Provincial Police Commander. He will then refer it to the IIU.
Guinness advised victims to also present him a copy of the complaint. This is to make sure that those cases are properly investigated, and where there is evidence of wrongdoing, those responsible can be dealt with internally or within the law.
But I would also appreciate if they can also give me copies of their complaint so that I can have I will have an overview of that and can be able to make sure that those complaints are properly investigated.
This relates to a police brutality case in Madang earlier this month where a complaint was filed against an officer. Richard Sambu, a landlord of a property behind Milder's Market, claimed the officer residing there physically assaulted him.
One time I'm spark civilian, issue only rifle blow police one time I'm going inside, triple man going inside, only broke him light inside the house blow me where he make him place it to attack. Now all fighting me, giving me palang, na me put down, all hit him, all knee blow me several times. When me feel him was me no up more knee blow me nam now I'm call. Me turn him the back side, na me sleep the floor, face down, and give him again the left side blow me, na give him the right hand side neck blow me.
Mathalubi's National EMTV News, Madang.
Gold prices on the world market have increased to about 7,000 kina per troy ounce today, but the opposition says Papua New Guinea will miss out on the potential revenue because of the closure of the Porgera gold mine.
The issues on the delay in reopening the Porgera mine has surfaced again, with the opposition leader pointing out predictions that gold export prices will continue to increase. On the world market today, an export of gold per troy ounce is trading at $1,956 or about 7,000 PNG kina. The increase reflects the demand for gold on the international market following the pickup in economic activities after many economies were on lockdown due to the coronavirus pandemic.
While Porgera mine remains closed, the price of gold recently is trading at 1,893 per troy ounce US dollars. And market analysts say this might go up further and may be maintained for the foreseeable future because of COVID-19. The government of James Marape is fully responsible.
The discussions on the future of the Porgera gold mine has continued for over 3 months now, with the National Court in Port Moresby ordering a mediation process for all parties involved to find a way forward. Much has been said on the court case, the legacy issues, and Barrick laying off close to 3,000 employees and 200 local contractors due to the expiry of the company's special mining lease.
In addition to the losses of potential revenue and in the surge of gold prices in the world, the Anga provincial government also stands to lose tens of millions of kina in its provincial government revenue. The landowners of Porgera mine stands to lose tens of millions of kina in their premiums and royalty benefits.
However, the Marape-led government says unless Barrick agrees to changes in revenue percentages set by the government, it will not consider Barrick a partner in the development of Porgera.
But it's all about getting more and bigger and better stuff for our country. That's all it is all about. At a time when our country needs money, gold price going very high, I can't be stupid to sell the birthright of this country. We must get what we can get for our country.
Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
And now looking at the NASFund market report, the kina closed unchanged at $0.288 in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, your kina is buying $0.2805 $0.3861 Australian dollars, $0.2298 euro, and 28.78 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher. Coffee, cocoa and copra closed higher. Crude oil is trading lower. Palm oil and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 160.29 points higher. The ASX 200 is trading at 44.7 points higher. And the All Ordinaries is trading at 49.5 points higher. And Trukai Sports' next. Kilawani is at the sports desk.
Thank you, Helen. PNG wins a major cricket award and Governor Pakop encourages healthy lifestyle through sports. Join me in Trukai Sports after the break.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Cricket PNG has been recognized by International Cricket Council in their bid to spread the game of cricket around Papua New Guinea. The Gray Nichols Award was received this morning by Cricket PNG and BSP, sponsoring partners of the office. The International Cricket Council has celebrated emerging cricket nations with the ICC Development Awards, recognizing the outstanding achievements of associate members in 2019. The awards celebrate winners showcasing impactful stories of growing cricket across the world. Cricket PNG was one of the 6 global champions being awarded the prestigious Gray-Nicolls Participation Program of the Year award over fellow regional winners Botswana, Brazil, Malaysia and Netherlands. The award was based on the Cricket PNG program initiative's success with the BSP School Cricket and Cricket for Good programs throughout last year.
The management and staff of Cricket PNG are humbled and privileged to be receiving the Gray-Nicolls Participation Program of the Year award. This award is a testament to the commitment and dedication of our staff around the country who work in remote and sometimes challenging environments. We extend a massive thank you to all our stakeholders, in particular Bank South Pacific. The program has introduced to boys and girls all over the country to a sport that may face challenges of growth in a region dominated by contact sports. As a testament to its success, 50% of players in our national men's and women's team and 100% of our national junior under-19 players started the cricket pathway in the BSP School Cricket program.
The fundamental messaging revolves around topics such as violence-free communities, resisting negative peer pressure, conflict resolution, and gender equality.
Chief Executive Officer Greg Campbell said Cricket PNG is honoured to have received this prestigious award. He added that cricket is used as a vehicle to drive social change and education in the communities. Campbell further stated this award would not have been possible without the support of the sponsors Bank South Pacific. BSP's Group Chief Executive Officer Robin Fleming, when receiving the award, said it was rewarding to receive the award from Cricket PNG and said BSP will continue to support the program and develop many more children in the sport of cricket. This is the 3rd time in which BSP School Cricket program has won this award globally, since bagging the award consecutively in 2010 and 2011. In a recent sport facility opening, Governor Pangu called for city residents to make use of sports facilities to improve their health. NCD infrastructure developments in the nation's capital came about during the 2015 Pacific Games. Much of these developments are sporting facilities. The governor believes these facilities must be utilized to tackle health and social issues.
The purpose of this fitness center and why we have spent this 2 million collaborating with the Montreal South District to make it happen. In our city, as you all know, we face so many challenges. Building infrastructure, we must continue. And we spend a lot of money, billions in infrastructure. You all see the new roads, you all see the stadiums, and we haven't stopped. This year we plan to build more. And this spend about 300 million we are going to continue infrastructure development.
Challenges are great in revamping a capital city on all facets, and it takes more than wishful thinking, says Governor Pangu.
A challenge for us. And we are working with the police to reduce all forms of violence and crime. But also, equally, we have started putting together a strategy to deal with especially gender-based violence. We have set up a task force. It is coming up with clear mandate and clear strategy and scope. I will launch the strategy soon. We are not going to wait. We are not going to wait for the entire country. This city is moving, and we are determined to change the face of our city and quality of life of our people. Not only current communication, big and small, but along which the health and lifestyle of our people, quality of life, their longevity, still remains very poor.
During the recent opening of the 2 million kina sports complex in the nation's capital, the governor challenged parliamentarians to take the lead in changing lifestyles.
You look around, you just see the physical impression of our people. Many are out of shape, starting with us in parliament. No body consciousness. many of us don't take our health seriously. We think our doctors and nurses and the hospital will fix us.
And that ends Trukai Sports. Helen will be back with the weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast for the next 24 hours in the southern region. Mostly fine, though cloudy at times in Port Moresby. Likely chance of light evening rain drizzle in Daru. Rain showers and drizzles this evening and tonight in Kerema. Partly cloudy with occasional rain drizzle in Alotau and chances of occasional rain drizzle tonight in Popondetta. In the Mamasa region, occasionally cloudy with chances of evening rain drizzles tonight in Lee. Mostly fine weather in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Island region, mostly fine in Lorengau, Kavieng, Kokoporabal and Kimbe. Chance of evening showers, then fine in Buka. And in the Highlands region, occasionally cloudy with chance of evening rain showers and drizzles, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiawa, Mendi and Wabeg. There is a renewal strong wind warning for all coastal waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru, through Gulf of Papua to Yule Island, to Hood Point to Samarai Island, including all Milne Bay Islands, to East Cape to Cape Vogel, and from Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Straits to CRC and Long Island to Karkar Island, and the ocean waters of Coral Sea, South Solomon Sea and Southwest Bismarck Sea. Strong southeast wind surge of 25 to 33 knots are expected to continue for the next 24 hours, causing rough seas. All small crafts and boats are advised to take necessary precautions before going out to sea. Forecast for small crafts within the coastal waters of Papua New Guinea for the next 24 hours. Waters of southern PNG Indonesian border through Torres Strait to Daru, through the Gulf of Papua to Yule Island, to Hood Point and to Samarai Island, seas of 2 to 3 meters. Waters of Samarai Island to eastern and western Milne Bay Islands, seas of 1 to 2 meters. Waters of East Cape to Cape Vogel to Finschhafen, with waters of Karkar Island to Wewak, to Aitape, to the northern PNG Indonesian border, with waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and with waters of New Ireland, East New Britain and Bougainville waters, seas of 0.5 to 1.3 meters. Waters of Finschhafen through Vitiaz and Dampier Straits to CRC and Long Island to Karkar Island, and with waters of West New Britain, seas of 0.5 to 1.5 meters. A look at the ocean forecast for PNG areas. In the Coral Sea, seas rough with southeast winds at 20 to 30 knots. In the Solomon Sea, seas slight to moderate to patches rough with southeasterly winds at 15 to 25 knots, increasing to 30 knots. In the Bismarck Sea, seas slight to moderate to patches rough with east to southeasterly winds at 10 to 20 knots, increasing to 30 knots. And in the Pacific Ocean, seas slight with southeast to southerly winds at 10 to 15 knots.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's the way it is this Thursday, the 30th of July 2020. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing. Good night.